Welcome back, Detroit Lions fans. Welcome back to the Detroit Den. And Will, I'm just going to tell you, if I had $1 for every solo episode where someone asked, "Where's Will? Where's Will? Where's Will?" or "Where's Steve? Where's Steve? Where's Steve?"
Yeah.
I'd be probably richer than Jeff Bezos, if I'm being honest with you. So here we are. We're talking some Detroit Lions football. Schedule is lined up. This is what you guys wanted. Will, we're going to be talking today about an undrafted free agent that we have talked about before, but it's been a little bit.
Yeah.
Isaiah Williams.
I'm excited for it, man. I do think there's how do I say this lightly? We have to our expectations got to stay in that window though. Because I feel like there's some people that are like, oh, they paid him $250K and he's about to take over for Khalif Raymond and pump the brakes. Now I am excited for him though, man. You watch his highlights, you dig into him, man. He's an absolute beast. And I think about this, and I know this is something that you have already put together. Who is he? Who is he? He's a kid that came to Illinois as a quarterback, right? Transitioned to running back, then transitioned to receiver, and he's done all of them pretty darn good. So that excites me, and it reminds me of somebody on our coaching staff, Antoine Randall, right? So this Detroit Lions organization, man, I think that not only do we have all of these guys that played football at a high level, they all bring their little niches to the game. And I think that this is one of those guys that can really relate to Antoine Randall, playing at the University of Indiana, playing quarterback, being an athlete out there running around, then going to Pittsburgh, playing for the Steelers, playing receiver, but having quite a few passes from that receiver position. I think that is what the niche is for Isaiah Williams. Could you see Isaiah Williams potentially playing a role similar to Antoine Randall?
We have a guy by the name of Ben Johnson as our offensive coordinator, right? Kind of a trickster, magician, got some maces up his sleeve.
Yeah.
Never know. Does he call up a Philly special maybe where he's giving him the ball and Jared Goff's going up the opposite sideline? Because Goff's probably the best athlete in the NFL. They call him mini prime. He's a walking Deion Sanders, if we're being honest.
So you're off for Jared Vick now. Jared Vick is out the window.
It's Jared Prime, okay? If Logan Paul wants to sponsor him and give him some of them Prime energy drinks, like I'm all for it. Let me just get like 2% of them of that salary. I could definitely see some gadget plays. I don't think that's only what he's going to be used for because I like Isaiah Williams, and you're right. I don't think he's going to be. I don't think Khalif Raymond has to worry, but I think like a guy like Antoine Green might. A guy like Donovan Peoples-Jones, I feel like is safe, but maybe there's a young kid nipping at your heels type of situation. But is he going to make the team? I think he is going to make the team, and that's really going to depend on training camp and preseason games. And I don't get caught up on the $250,000. Like, yeah, it's a shit ton of money. Like, if someone came and knocked on my door and handed me $250,000, I'm pretty much set for life.
Yeah.
In the NFL, for the Detroit Lions, they spend that on dinners for their employees. So it's really not that big of a deal for them, like it is for us. Like, it kind of sucks because I would really like $250,000, but don't get caught up in how much they paid for him just to come to training camp. Like he still has to make the team. Just because he got paid does not mean he's going to be guaranteed a roster spot. He still has to fight for it, but I do like his odds.
Yeah. And to go along with that, those guys have guaranteed money as well. So those guys, I think, I can't remember exactly what his is, but I think his was higher, but I think his was only like 30,000 or 20,000 guaranteed. He still has to make the team and get signed or be on the practice squad to continue to get his checks. If he gets cut from the team, his money, he only gets his guaranteed money. So again, just like you said, don't get caught in that $250K. Now that is saying that, hey, we believe in you and there's a potential, and we're going to say, hey, if you turn out to be what we think you could be, you're going to get $250K and then some if you make this active roster. So just like you said, don't get caught up in it. But I think that you hit it on the head, Antoine Green, or the only thing that I would add to that is if one of these guys get banged up, if you get a Donovan Peoples-Jones banged up, you get a Khalif Raymond banged up, then maybe those are guys that you could pull up from the practice squad. But honestly, I see Isaiah Williams being a practice squad player unless he can offer something on special teams, be it like the gunner position or something like that. And I say that because of the fact that he's a rugged guy. He's played running back, right? He's taken handoffs, jet sweeps, and all types of stuff. He's returned kicks and punts. So it's not like he's one of those, for lack of a better word, the pretty prima donna on receivers that don't like to get their hands dirty. He's a guy that'll get down there in the trenches. He's not the biggest guy in the world now, but he will get physical. He will play tough. And even you can see him on some of the handoffs that he took in college. He runs tough. So if he can offer something on special teams and make the team that way, I think that will give him a opportunity to make the active roster. But if not, he'll be a guy on the practice squad. But we've seen the practice squad. Guys are going to get called up from the practice squad when people get banged up, whether it's for a few weeks or whether it's for the season. So if he clears the practice squad, he's definitely a guy that I can see getting an opportunity. The only thing that worries me, and I want to know if this worries you, is his 40 time. He ran a 4.06 40, and his 10-yard that we talk about all the time. I tell you, like, to me, the 10-yard is more important than the 40-yard dash. To me, it was like a 1.6 something.
1.59.
I got 1.6 for him. For is that off the combine? You got it?
NFL.com, yes, 1.59, and his 40 time was 4.63.
So yeah, so even still, that's still pushing that 1.6. Even that, I had his pro day one, which was 1.6 and some change. So, guys, that's not a fast 10-yard. And I know it probably feels like we're splitting hairs, but that 10-yard matters because that's short area explosiveness, and that's what football is about, to me, in my opinion. And it's what I've heard from a lot of analysts. We're not going to get on the field and be running 40 yards often, but you're going to be running 10 yards very often, right? You're going to be showing short area verse. So those 3 cone drills, those short area quickness drills, change of direction drills, those are the ones that you want to see your skill position guys being highly successful at. And just 1.6 isn't crazy fast. Now, he's got great ball skills. He's got great elusiveness. He's got wiggle, that elusiveness when guys are coming to tackle you. He does all those things. So I do believe that he's a guy that can contribute, but unless he gets faster, he'll never be one of those guys that are the caliber of Antoine Randall. Because Antoine Randall was a 4.4 guy. You know what I mean? Like, the speed was different, the athletic gifts were different. But all that said, he is a guy that I do believe that can contribute and do some things that help us win.
I used to be a big 40-yard dash guy. I used to think that was like the make or break. And I do think the 10-yard split is probably way more important. Because like you said, that short area of quickness, especially for like defensive linemen, I think it's most important there. But difference of opinion. I do think it's extremely important. But when I look at the 40 time, and I remember I hammered Keon Coleman because he ran, I actually think he's still running, if I'm not mistaken. Isn't he still running his 40-yard dash?
Yeah,
he might. Like, he didn't have a fast 40-yard dash. So what I start looking at now is, can they catch footballs? Can they identify coverages? Can they get open? Can they find soft spots and zones? I do think that speed is going to make him not as dependable if it's man coverage, because he doesn't have breakaway speed. But if it's a zone coverage, I feel like Isaiah Williams is someone we could really look at. But I don't think he's beating a lot of corners off the line. I don't think he's blowing by anyone. I don't think he's big. He's definitely not big, so he's not going to get huge separation or be able to out jump many people. So I really think his role would be, if we can catch the defense in zone coverage and he can find some soft spots and pick up 8-9 yards and get first downs, that kind of thing. He's not Kelvin Johnson. He's not going to moss anybody. He's not going to get great separation, but he can find some zones. He can find some coverage gaps.
Yeah, I think that for what we'd ask him to do, that's what it would be. He's going to be the third option, the fourth option on plays, or he's going to be running jet sweeps or gadget plays. He's going to be that guy that's similar to a Cleef Raymond. He's not going to be the number one option on a play call, unless he's doing something gadgety or whatever. So those are things that oftentimes you got some type of misdirection go on or play action into the jet sweep. So he'll get a little extra split second. I'm not worried about it, man. I just think that what he offers from his skill set, he definitely could contribute if we needed him to. There's plenty of guys that have ran 4.6s in the league that have contributed to teams. But I just think that some of the people that were looking to him to be a guy that was really going to be holding a number 3 receiver spot on our roster for a few seasons. I don't see that. I don't even see him taking over for like a Cleve Raymond or something like that. I see him as a guy who could make the team because he helps us out on special teams and he could have moments. Like we could look back to a moment in the NFC championship game where he came in and there was a double pass, or he came in and ran a jet sweep or something weird. That's something that could happen, but I don't think you're ever going to see the Detroit Lions featuring Isaiah Williams as one of our top 3 receivers and game planning for him.
No, if there's ever a game where he has 6 or more catches, I'll be stunned. But another thing is I can see him coming onto the field and Jared Goff potentially identifying that, hey, I got man coverage. If that's a weakness for Isaiah Williams, a lot of times in those huddles, quarterbacks get 2 or 3 plays that they can call and audible to and switch to. One of those plays could be like you just said, a double pass where maybe Isaiah Williams takes a step back, Goff hits him, and then boom, hey, J-Mo's on the opposite sideline running free with man coverage because they think it's a bubble screen. Like there's some options for him, but when it comes to man coverage and I'm not caught up on the 40 time again, and Amon-Ra St. Brown didn't have a phenomenal 40 time. I can't remember what it was off the top of my head, but he didn't set any records. Yeah, I mean it's not the fastest in the world, but it's a little faster than 4.6. But Amon-Ra St. Brown's just a lead at a lot of other things, and we kind of compared him a little bit to Amon-Ra St. Brown. We called him the Yak King when we talked about him before. That's what Isaiah Williams does. Like he's shifty. If you get him the ball in the middle of the field, if we need 12 yards and he's running an 11-yard route, he'll get you that extra yard. But I just don't see him absolutely blowing by anyone or winning a lot of man coverage.
Same. So that said, do you think that he makes this team?
Yes. And I don't think he's going to the practice team because I think another team will pick him up immediately. I think he'll be one of the more sought after players. A team like, I don't know, Carolina, who really doesn't have many receivers outside of Xavier Legette, and they were rolling out Adam Thielen and DJ Chark last year. So they just come to mind right off the top of my head. I don't think Isaiah Williams will clear and make our practice squad just because I think someone would pick him up and put him on their 53-man roster, which, hey, I don't blame you. You get to go play real NFL football every Sunday. Why wouldn't you take that opportunity? But I'm also not going to let that hold the Detroit Lions hostage and say I have to give him a roster spot. And I don't think that will happen. I think if he makes the team, it will be as a special teamer with a role in the offense as a contingency plan.
Yeah, I agree, man. Developmental player. I think the opposite, though. I think that he's going to get cut and he's going to be a practice squad offer. And if he clears, he clears. He doesn't, he doesn't. I like what Dan Campbell said to many of these young players, just talking about, hey, I'm going to make some calls. Like, yeah, we're letting you go because our talent went from here to here, and now we're not saying that you're not an NFL caliber player. You're just not better than the top 4 receivers that we have on our roster right now. So I'm gonna make some calls and let some teams know that you're available and try to get you a job. Now, we're not a team that wants to harbor these athletes to ourselves and make sure that these guys don't get opportunities. And I love that about Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes. And the bottom line, it doesn't worry me because at the end of the day, if another team picks you up, you're not better than J-Mo, you're not better than Amon-Ra. So essentially, we still should be in a place that's just fine. We shouldn't be worried about him. Let him go out and feed his family. But I do hope, and it excites me when I track back to my childhood, watching Antoine Randall running around, thinking that the Detroit Lions could potentially have something like that on their roster. It would be another piece that would just be fun to watch. So another person out there doing halfback passes and double passes and stuff like that. It would be fun. He's a guy that can line up in the backfield or all over the place. And who is the Detroit Lions? We both talked about Sione Vaki. He's a guy that can do all types of things. Amon-Ra St. Brown is lined up in the backfield. He can do all types of things. Jahmyr Gibbs, he can do all types of things. J-Mo, he can do all types of things. So it's exciting to have all of these guys that aren't just kind of shackled and, hey, man, I'm just a running back. I'm just a receiver. I'm just a tight end. These guys can do all types of stuff, man.
Yeah, I think Isaiah Williams is one of my favorite rookies that I'm going to be watching, but I do think he's I don't want to say long shot. I'll say the chances of him making the team are 50-50. I just don't know. It's really going to depend on quarterback play in the preseason and who gets more looks, who gets more touches, what kind of, I think I said it the other day, our quarterback play, Hendon Hooker is going to get a lot of reps in preseason and training camp. And what he does depends on a lot of people who are fighting for jobs like Donovan Peoples-Jones, Isaiah Williams, like they're depending on good quarterback play to make this team or have a bigger role. So I think we'll be okay there. So if I had to pick today, I'll say flip a coin. I don't know if Isaiah Williams makes the team, but if he doesn't make the team, I don't think he makes the practice squad just because he's that good.
Listen, one last thing I'm gonna bust your chops on. I need an allegiance.
Tom Kennedy. So
that's what I was about to say. So it's not Tom Kennedy, because I remember you cheated on Tom Kennedy. I told him already. Anyways, who's your favorite rookie? Because Mekhi Wingo can't be your favorite rookie, and Sione Vaki and Isaiah Williams. Who's your guy?
Mekhi Wingo is my favorite rookie, but the kid I'm cheering the most for is the name you didn't even mention. Mitchell Lagude. If you don't know his story, you need to learn his story, because I am pulling for that kid harder than any rookie. My favorite player that's going to make the team, rookie-wise, Mekhi Wingo. I mean, we know the rest are all set, and I'm not worried about Mekhi Wingo making the team. He's my favorite draft pick. But my favorite rookie that I'm cheering for in training camp that I want to see make this team with the best story is Mitchell Lagude. And if you guys don't know who that is, I posted a video on him about a week ago. Basically, this kid died when he was young and came back, and he's got a phenomenal story. And I don't want to spoil it. Check that out. But there you go. Will, is that a sufficient enough answer?
Absolutely. I just wanted to, hey, listen, plant your flag, man, and tell me who your guy is, man. Because you say, hey, man, today my favorite is this, my favorite is that, or whatever. Because I have a single favorite, and that's Brian Branch. I don't even like anybody else.
Well, you see, I treat my Detroit Lions like I treat ice cream. It just depends on what flavor I want that day. It just depends. So, guys, check out that Mitchell Lagude episode. It's a good one. Phenomenal story. Talked a little bit about Isaiah Williams. Leave it in the comments. Let us know what you think. Hit that like button. Stick around. We'll be back later with another show.
Peace.